Patricia Smith, lauded by critics as a testament to the power of words to change lives, is the author of 7 acclaimed poetry volumes. Blood Dazzler, which chronicles the devastation wreaked by Hurricane Katrina, was a finalist for the 2008 National Book Award. Should Have Been Jimmy Savannah from Coffee House Press in 2012, a memoir in verse, tracks the second wave of the Great Migration. Smith's book, Tea House of the Almighty, also from Coffee House in 2006, was a National Poetry Series selection and winner of the first ever Hurston Wright Award in Poetry. Smith is the winner of the Chautauqua Literary Journal Award in Poetry and a Pushcart Prize for the poem, The Way Pilots Walk. And I want to say about Patricia Smith, whose work I've loved and admired for a long time, is that she makes the characters and the people in her poems come alive in a way that is so exceptional and so unique. You won't forget the characters in her poems. You won't forget the stories she tells, and the stories she tells are necessary for all of us. Let's welcome Patricia Smith.
Shedding. She screamed when she saw the clumps of hair in my hand, the slowly uncrumpling wads of stuffing the sink drain, the nappy tufts clinging to the slick white walls of the tub. In disbelief, she dragged her claw across my scalp, then stared at the thick tendrils that easily came away with her hand. "Girl, what did you do?" she demanded, deciding that the loss of my hair was punishment for some closeted purple sin. So then began the questions. "Did you let anybody touch you? You've been going to school every day. Have you been stopping off at that place where they sell candy? Girl, you've been stealing stuff from Woolworths, slipping money out of my purse. Did you ever say something wrong to God? Did you call God out his name? You've been cursing." I was 8. Nothing purple could find thread in me. All I knew was that the week before, my mother had stated casually while she chopped onions or tuned into Petticoat Junction or shaved a corn on her toe with a razor, "Oh, your daddy ain't gonna be living here no more." And my halo shredded and my whole slice of sky started to hurt. This is called Laugh Your Troubles Away, which was the motto of Riverview Park. 1. Every city had one, a palace with a fried tint to its air, a hurting huge screech of no underneath, everything plummeting or ascending, a monument to hazy flailing and sudden fun vomit. Swing the Riviera onto Belmont and you see the pair o' chutes rising to heaven on dual strings, headed for the pinpoint and release, then the slick whip and fall, the little public murder, a blaring grace so storybook gorgeous suddenly flood in the throat. Revelers board creaking fireball cars and slice the August, mistaking acid bubbling in their bellies for symptoms of glee, then stop to stuff quavering guts with plastic and syrup. Their quick sustenance has wafted all day on a river of grease. They hunger for white cakes curled stiff with sugar, sausages that pop a huge heat, pink candy of cotton chomping rot down their throats. The jagged stains of compromised fruit circle screaming mouths and paint shadow across the teeth, making them horrible. Bulbs flash. Wet Polaroids are lifted and waved like church fans to etch and clarify in the summer steam. The aged horses are dizzied and diseased. Chained to a tilting stake, they blur through the drag, deferring to their brutal, squirming burdens. Pot-bellied flies, nasty to the point of charm, nibble passages toward the horses' blue hearts. Above it all, the freak show MC, his shout an odd mixture of pity and sex, dares us to witness sweaty sloth, tiny floating corpses, so much skin unlike ours, more legs than allowed, and a Negro who can separate himself from his eyes. While on the midway, your father will never win the shiny stuffed neon grinners, the bears, dolphins, curlicue serpents, Cupid dolls, and counterfeit Mickey mice that leer from shelves. He hurls balls at weighted milk cans, blasts at a measured parade of bobbing ducks, guns water into a pinpoint, guesses a woman's weight. Finally, He just buys something soft and ugly, a token you will clutch and sing to until, too blackly loved, it melts. At dusk, he steers you away from the midway's squalling edge, where everything seems to be happening, where the hooting and laughter have a raw, unmeasured throat. You pout, he pulls. You pout, he pulls. And not for the first time, you wonder what he hides. 2. I am their pickaninny, dressed in a repeating river. All of me is droop and sustained. My drenched dungarees are gravity on me. I have learned to smile at the several versions of my name. My face is complete in its teeth. Oh, woe is me, I say, while the white boys wind up. And damn if they don't always smack that huge thing dead in the center. I rise laughing from my clockwork baptism, the canned river funked with my own spit and piss, just to see another man clutching the ball, his eyes harder than the first one. Sometimes a man who looks just like me is in the crowd, his smile a link chain to mine. I spot one man using his body to block his little girl's view of me, so I make my voice louder. Oh, sweet Jesus, kind son, no. Lord have mercy, sir, I believe I might drown. Please let me dry off in this sun a little bit. Mercy me, man, you sure does look strong, sir. Until the little girl twists hard away from her daddy and full unto me. I have just enough time for her to sound it out. Dunk. Dunk, right, Daddy? Dunk? Okay, dunk. Dunk A. All right. Dunk a nig. And then I salute and I hold her father's eyes as I fall. Okay, so this is Ooh Baby Baby, and you'll hear the limerick in here, but it just keeps going. Okay. There once was a song that took hold of a child, 'cause the tale that it told made her feel flushed and held until she was compelled to play it again, to behold the craving encased in each note that slipped from the singer's sleek throat, 'cause the beg that he sighed made her ache from inside. She was moved by his words to devote her tomorrows to all that he said. She was told she was out of her head, but his tenor dug deep, interrupting her sleep, so she did some wild dreaming. Instead of singing it dizzy, she would pretend that he loved her or could. In the mirror she braced for his kiss and the taste of his mouth. Every day there she stood in a room by herself, all alone, with a body no longer her own. All her soul was engrossed in no more than a ghost. Every moment a new stepping stone toward an empty she didn't dare to name, knowing Smokey was never to blame, though she whispered no fair as she slow danced with air, her hip-heavy waltzing a shame. But if the song made her prefer the conjure, the hot him and her, she would live in her head, stunned, in love, newly wed, the real just a feverish blur. So she drowned in the silk of his voice just because there was never a choice. She was helplessly shook by his hoo-la-la hook, not a thing left to do but rejoice, in a romance that really was none, and a two that was really just one. She was fatally awed by a falsetto god, his wooing had left her undone. There once was a song that took hold of a child, 'cause the story it told made her feel flushed and held until she was compelled to give in to the lies that it sold. Take that limerick, run with that, right, ladies? Okay. Just because you say limericks are short and they're supposed to be funny, they don't have to be short, they don't have to be funny, and you can just use them as a new form. Always look for a new form. Okay, I think there's 2 more. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
We're good? Okay. Maybe 3? 2. Okay. Because I had 3 picked out. I was like, you don't want to mess with Maria. I've seen your hook. I've seen you do that, actually. Yeah. I know you got one, so don't act like, you know. All of a sudden, she's all innocent, you know. There are poets all over the country with scars on their neck. Oh, you read for Maria, right? Yeah, I went long. Okay. First friction. I was 12, Too young to be left alone mornings after Mama packed her paper hat and sugar-dusted shoes to push gumballs down the assembly line. So I was unceremoniously dumped at the door of old Mrs. Gore's mouse-addled basement hovel, where the matron of snapping gum and gray grin ushered me in and plopped me down in a chair that stank of a dog they didn't own. Seeing how I was bleary and unslept, Mrs. Gore would open the door to the bedroom where her twin girls, Kathy and Karen, still dreamed on the edge of alarm. Peppery, flailing, their waking bodies unwound to carve me room. I don't know how it started, how wordlessly Karen and I tussled skin, adjusted knee and cunt, naturally knew the repeating mouth and its looping stanza. She smelled like what I couldn't stop swallowing. Content to thrive on a flickering cinema of ourselves, our eyes fluttered, never fully opened. We pretended a blazing slumber, hushing the grind, the soft rustle of sparse, sweating pubic, even after her unsuspecting sister stretched and tumbled out to begin her day. Strange she didn't suspect our engine. For as long as we could, Karen and I stayed prone in exquisite, pressurized tangle beneath knotty orange chenille. We kept up the being blind, crashing into dampening borders until her fat mother shuffled in to rouse us, throwing shades open to the damnable day, introducing the stupid, useless notion of language again. By then, there was a drum buried in our bellies. We stank like men, all up under that sweet funk that first sin leaves behind. Okay, and two more. When I went to high school, my parents' idea of a good high school was not the one in my neighborhood, but was to bus me all the way across Chicago to a white school. And surprise, there are bad white schools. I was in a school where my graduating class was 600, 12 black people. I was then also kind of ostracized because I paid attention to my schoolwork, and then you get put in honors classes, then you get like chastised, and because you're in honors classes, and what do? You dumb down? What do you do? So my whole high school career was just awful. And my mother's thing was, be as white as you can and you will be as successful as you can be. Just watch white people do what they do. So I was working on the school paper one day, and I was working with this guy, and he's kind of a nerd, glasses on, and he was an editor, I was an editor, and then one day he took his glasses off to just do something, and it was, oh! I was like, that's the finest white boy I've ever seen. So, so you get all mixed up. It's like you're one person at home, you're another person at school, what's going on? So we started like dating, which was really weird, but we were kind of hiding it from everybody, and this is about that. It's got 3 parts. An open letter to Joseph Peter Naris, or the regrettable dramatic arc of loving a white boy. It's a wonder our grind never toppled, that we were lap and gulp sincerely, lips layered away, pubics an expecting parallel, burning the outlawed outline of our writhe into the lawn, outlandish hues vital and nasty and erupting weeds, our bound structure never wearying of the questioning prod, the wishful pummel, 9th period over, the snarlers and spitters slow gone, and we were out loud, right out in the open, out of our damned minds, running our tongues around the edges of war. How socially insane our primal twist, the doom conjoined clock of us, the engine of our against, your fingers a disruption in hair just learning to explode. Every Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, we stumbled in frustrated dangle away from the grounds of Carl Schurz High School, temperature skewered, our salves hammered and dripped through denims. Separate buses spit their oily smoke to the north and west, and we pressed radiant genital ache into the ride, red inking continued crave into matching notebooks, our poetry ripped through with dactyls and something no one but 2 ballot-battered fools would call a future. Love at R16 smothered the jointly addressed nigger note. don't know why it took your father's friend so long to see us, to witness our open wounds browning the grass. Imagine his gape, his flushed goddammit, his bulge-eyed conviction to upright the collapsing, to shove the wild wayward back into orbit, to push those colors back inside the lines, to reteach the day away from the fall. I've dreamed often of his vile and sputtered reportage, spittle showering the receiver, every other word a resolute and hurtled scarlet. An open letter to Joseph Peter Nares, take 2, or today's after-school special veers into explosive territory. Let me tell you why it never occurred to me to be afraid. You took off your glasses and you were perfect, eyes bluer than any prince written, reachably gorgeous, no hiccup of light when you stretched for me. No discussion of why we shouldn't tangle and pump against your locker between periods, why I shouldn't wrap yards of yarn around your clasped ring and wear it dripped between new breasts. We snuck around and about and pretended normal, lying to parents about meetings and committees, entering the junior prom through separate doors. Boy, damn decorum, I loved you. I know I did because I know some things by now. I know that your body was a wise and ill-advised battlefield against mine, that your mouth was razored, that I love you was a huge and unwieldy declaration, the kind of blue you unimmediately forgive. My parents weren't yours. They considered you the nap-time-sized American dream, a rung on the step ladder that climbed every white-capped mountain. Just be careful, they said, while your father spat blades, said, these are the words I've imagined, slapped with the wide eye, I'll throw you out of my house if I hear about you seeing that black girl again. Joe, I loved you then and I love you still. We are drama born of the truth tell, our tongues so stupid and urged they continually reach the back of our throats. Who hates me for actually knowing this? There are hundreds of songs written about all the things you can't do at 16. There are a million songs written about what I didn't do with you. An open letter to Joseph Peter Nares, take 3, or cue the waterworks. When I was a kid, my mother convinced my father that I'd done something terrible. She urged him to spank me, and he did. His blows were reluctant pillows, pull back and whisper slow, more for appearance than correction, and while he whipped, he cried. Slow, beautiful cries, elegant, silent, he wept. After vowing to never touch his daughter that way, he went through the prescribed motions, hiding his tears, and I bucked, bellowed, scripting my twists, knowing what drama was required. That was the first time I saw a man cry. When your dad became a bomb, vowing to blow at the continued thought of your mouth on me, we stood at the bus stop that last day, matching fingertips, major players in a terrible love story's climactic scene. I boarded the bus and clawed the window while you stood on the sidewalk, the sugar of what we'd been staining your cheeks. All that was missing were the drooped tulips and aching strings, and the gulp that happens when a man loses hold and forgets the definition of man. I wonder if your father ever wonders where I am. I wonder if he wonders who I was. Thank you. Okay, and one last one. This was one of my biggest secrets for a long time, class. Anybody know who Karen Finley is? Karen Finley's a performance artist, yes. And commonly known, if you say Karen Finley to somebody who knows her, they'll say, oh, that's the woman who, they had this big NEA thing about giving her money because one of her acts was to cover her naked body in chocolate, come on stage, and basically put a yam up her behind. I don't know what the message was, but when I lived in Tarrytown, New York, she was a soccer mom in my, and she went to school with my kids, so she would be like, oh, I'll pick them up, I'll take them to practice. I was like, okay, whatever. And so, but she had a little workshop in the area, and I took her workshop. I thought, oh, this would be great, you know, and one of the things she wanted us to do was find a smell from our childhood, get some cotton balls, surround our writing space with that smell, and see where it took us. So I have the world's cleanest mother. My mother has a white carpet in her apartment. It is not bone white, it is not off-white, it is snow white. There is not a stain on it. Okay, and she's got white furniture, and you walk in and you're just like, oh, don't. So I was in the cleaning aisle looking for things from my childhood. 'Cause my mother used to take, there's two kind of Lysols. There's the big bottle and there's the little tiny bottle with the skull and crossbones that you're supposed to dilute. Well, my mother used to use that and wipe the walls down in her house, which explains a lot about my brain function. So I was going to write something funny about how clean she was. I surrounded myself with that smell. Something hit me. I said, that cannot be true. And I called my mother, and she said, yeah, we all used to do that. So that's where this poem came from. What surfaces can I use this product on? Answer. Lysol may be used on hard, non-porous surfaces throughout your home. Lysol cleans, disinfects, and deodorizes regular and non-wax floors, non-wood cabinets, sinks, and garbage pails. For painted surfaces, it is recommended that the product first be tested in a small, inconspicuous area. Can Lysol be used in the kitchen? Answer. Lysol may be used on countertops, refrigerators, non-wood cabinets, sinks, stovetops, and microwave ovens. For the bathroom, it may be used for tiles, tubs, sinks, and porcelain. And for all around the house, it may be used on floors, garbage cans, in the basement, and in the garage. Can I use this inside my refrigerator? Answer. Lysol may be used on the inside of a refrigerator. However, you must remove all food and rinse well after using the product. Can I use this to kill mold and mildew? Yes. Lysol controls the growth of mold and mildew. It kills the mold, but the removal of the stain associated with mold and mildew can sometimes be tough. Can I use this to scrub the uncontrollable black from the surface of my daughter, to make her less Negro and somehow less embarrassing to me? She's like the hour after midnight, that child is. Why, yes. Begin with one Sears gray swirl dinette set chair screeching across the hardwood on spindly steel legs. Place the offending child on the ruptured plastic of the seat. Demand that she bend her neck to grant you access to the damaged area. You know, of course, that black begins at the back of the neck. Grab a kitchen towel, a washcloth, or sponge and soak with undiluted Lysol concentrate. Ignoring the howls of the impossibly Negro child, scrub vigorously until the offending black surrenders. There may be inflammation, a painful rebellion of skin, or slight bleeding. This is simply the first step to righteousness. The child must be punished for her lack of silky tresses, her broad sinful nose, that dark Negroid blanket she wears. Layers of her must disappear. Precautionary statements: danger, corrosive to eyes and skin, harmful if swallowed, causes eye and skin damage. Do not get in eyes or on skin. Wear protective eyewear and rubber gloves when handling. Woman, your mission is beyond this. You must clean the child, burn the southern sun from her. If she squirms from the hurting, demand that she hold on to the sides of the chair. Soak towel or sponge with our patented holy water. Repeat application. I have tried to understand. Precautionary statements: my mother. Danger, her hatred of this. Corrosive to eyes and skin, of the me that wears this. Harmful if swallowed, the monster she had. Causes eye and skin damage, the monster she wanted. Do not get in eyes or on skin. Mama, can't you read it? You want me to read it to you? I can't help being my color. I am black. I am not dirty. I am black. I am not dirty. I am black. I am not dirty. What you have birthed upon me will not come off. My hair is black crinkled steel, too short to stay plaited. My ass is wide and will get wider. You can pinch my nose, but it will remain a landscape. You cannot reverse me. What is filthy to you will never be cleansed. There is only one thing you can change. I am not dirty, I am black. I am not dirty, I am black. I am not black, I am dirty. I am dirty black, not black. I am black and dirty. Dirt is black. Black is dirty. You convinced me that I am what is wrong in this world. Scrub me right. Bleed me lighter. What is the difference between disinfection and sanitation? Why are there two different usage directions for each? Answer. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, disinfection is killing more than 99.99% of germs on hard, non-porous surfaces in 10 minutes and may pertain to a number of different types of bacteria. The EPA defines sanitation as killing 99.9% of bacteria in 5 minutes or less. Lysol products achieve sanitation in 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, done. So in terms of now writing about the South, which is not something that I used to do, it's a little bit difficult for me because my father died when I was 21. My mother really looked at the South as something she was ashamed of. She didn't really want to be known as the woman who came from Alabama. She wanted to be a Chicago woman. And so when I talked to her about what her life was like in the South, what she was like, she would just say, you don't want to know about all that down south stuff. So a lot of what I'm writing now, I had to research. I had to find out from other family members. My family, I got very little information from. I had to piece together photographs, go back and start to ask questions, because finding out about that is the same as finding out where I am rooted. And in order to be an artist, you need to know where you're rooted, because otherwise you have no idea what your starting point is or which direction to go into.